Hello and welcome to Celebrating You. And I am so excited to have Olly Clarke, Olly Paws and Claws Clarke, my new best friend, here to tell you all about his amazing multiple businesses. So, Olly, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you for having Maria. It's great to be here and be able to talk to you
It's my
about what
pleasure.
you're up to. And yeah, and I'm just really excited to be able to talk to you and just really appreciate for letting me on your new show. So
I'm just even more excited than that. And Olly, I and the nation, and indeed the world, would love to know how it is that you came about to do what you do.
I own two businesses. One of them, which has been going for 5 years, which is a pet photography studio. And that was quite interesting. So how that started. So I think I might start with that, and then go on to and then go on to talking about my new business in a second. So my journey as a photographer started at A level when I didn't get the results which I needed at GCSE to study my chosen subject, which was psychology. For a while, I wanted to be a psychologist, but I don't think anyone would take me that seriously. I couldn't imagine myself as a psychologist.
I would.
Now, well, when I was 17, and that's what I could see myself, but definitely not now. So my grades weren't great, and so basically, pretty much the only option I had was to do photography. So I did a photography A level, and start off with, I absolutely hated it. It was in the dark room. It was all film, and I just really was not. It wasn't my skill. It wasn't my talent. Was film photography. And then gradually, as the term progressed, I started enjoying it more. And for my Christmas present when I was 17, my parents gave me a digital SLR camera. And then my love of photography grew from there. And literally, everything was literally, as soon as I got that camera, my love of photography just changed. There was no hate of photography. I just loved it, and it was going out with my camera. I went to a school which was in the middle of the Downs, and it was just stunning. So basically, every moment was just the perfect place to study photography for A level. Um, I then went on to study at university. And it was really weird. One of the reasons why I actually chose to go there was because I really liked my lecturer's shoes. But it's so random.
That's random. I knew you'd be random, but
It was
that's
so,
taken the biscuit.
it was so random. But
What were they like?
I then turned up on my first day at the university, only to discover that that lecturer had left.
Oh
So
no.
the man with the brown leather
Oh,
shoes,
amazing.
I never got to meet. So,
I'm so sorry.
I then did 3 years at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, which
I know
was
it well.
a really, really incredible experience. I loved the whole university experience, and yeah, it really allowed me to be very creative and full of wacky people because it was an art college. So it just was so amazing. All people were complete nutters, and it was just incredible being around them. And yeah, and during my time, I had a small crisis, which I won't divulge into because I'm completely over that now. But coping with that tiny crisis which happened to me, I then was with a support group for people with mental health issues. And it turned out that actually we wanted to be more of an artistic group because there are a lot of artists and people with art interests in the group. And we decided to explore mental health through photography. I wanted to do a really mad final piece for my university degree, which was great. So I decided that I would photograph animals within the studio. And actually, the story behind this was kind of a bizarre one. I was on a night out with friends. I had a little bit too much to drink, and I told a lie. The lie what I told them was that I had got a tiger in for a photo shoot in the university studio.
A
And
tiger
this is
that came for
completely
tea.
legendary. And then, but the person who I told that lie to, I actually didn't know. I'd never met them before. It was just someone I talked to on a night out. And then what happened was
Did they have brown shoes?
about 2 weeks later, walking down the street, this guy comes up to me, no clue who he is, and go, "Hey, we met the other night, blah blah blah. Tell me about your photo shoot with the tiger." And I was like, yeah, it's happening in 2 weeks' time. They postponed it." And then I just wandered off from that conversation, really, really awkward. But then I was like, I quite like that idea. I'm going to go and find a tiger, and I'm going to photograph a tiger and try bring it to the university studios.
You're joking.
I actually found a tiger.
You're joking.
I'm not joking. I found a tiger.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it was at Shepworth Wildlife Park, which is a wildlife park which is about 30 minutes outside of Cambridge. And they loved the idea of this project.
Oh my God, I can't believe
and
it.
they allowed me to go to the zoo for free and photograph their animals. Tigers and all lots of amazing stuff.
Lions and bears.
Studio backdrop in the tiger's sleeping quarters.
Wow.
The tiger was absolutely petrified.
Oh no.
And I don't have a single picture to prove it.
Why?
So
Why?
We had to stop it. It was too scared.
Oh.
Its life was so mundane that just a black backdrop changed in its.
Oh, bless it. Yeah.
It couldn't cope. It was too stressed out, and we had to let it out of its sleeping quarters, unfortunately. So I have no tiger photos. But then
you came close.
I was literally like a meter close. I wasn't. It was behind glass, so the pictures wouldn't have been that great anyway. So that didn't happen. But I then decided that I really loved setting up the behind the scenes and everything like that. So I decided that I would continue pursuing. And then I was talking with another friend who knew someone who had pet birds of prey. And he was a hairdresser at the other end of Cambridge. So I went to hunt down this hairdresser to ask if I could photograph his birds of prey. And that's what I did. I photographed the birds of prey in his shed, and it all went well. I then did research more into birds of prey and where I can find them. There was an incredible raptor centre just outside of Cambridge. Again, Wu was a serious businesswoman and wanted me to pay to photograph them. But the art group which I was part of agreed to fund it. So we paid £150 to be part of that group and be able to photograph those birds. And it was unbelievable. The first photo which I actually took was probably my favourite photo I've ever taken. It's of a great grey owl looking rather serious, and it's just stunning. I absolutely love the picture, and it was literally one of my first ever photos which I'd taken from within the studio. I then graduated university, and I struggled for 4 years doing any kind of jobs possible. From working as a security guard. I literally could not believe myself as a security guard working at festivals. I worked as a teaching assistant. I worked in foster care. And I absolutely loved the foster care and the teaching assistant, but I did it on an agency basis. So I was literally the lowest of the low. And in foster care, they were really, they were awful. I had to work, I worked in a home in Horsham, and it was such a depressing environment. It felt like a prison, and all the staff, I didn't get on with any of them. And it just didn't work out, unfortunately. And then in 2015, my New Year's resolution was to get in as many magazines as possible. So my tactic for this was to go to my local co-op and ask for a list of the publishers of all the magazines and say, hey, can I have the list of your publishers, and I'll contact them to see if I can get in a magazine. But actually what happened was I had one of the most shocking customer experience of my life, but it has changed my life for the good. So this
Wow,
woman,
what is it?
she's absolutely lovely. We're really good friends now. She's called Susie. And she told me off. She gave me a big bollocking and she goes, so you're saying you're a pet photographer, a sports photographer, a wildlife photographer, a wedding photographer, a music photographer, this photographer, that photographer. And I was like, yeah, I am. And she goes, you're setting yourself up to fail. What are you good at? Go niche. And I was like, oh, I took this picture at university. It's one of my special pictures I've taken of her now. And I think I'm pretty good at photographing pets. And she goes, well, become a pet photographer. So after this conversation, I went home. I posted on Facebook that I wanted to become a pet photographer and photograph everyone's pets. About 90 people contacted me in half an hour. And then from there, I became a pet photographer. I actually deleted that post. I was so terrified. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? For 4 years, I'd been struggling as a photographer on the side of doing work which I didn't want. No one ever contacting me that much in a day. And then literally about probably 50 times more work came through to me that in one day than I had in 4 years. Of those 90 people, it filtered down to about 12, which actually happened. And then from there, I became a pet photographer. A lot of the people who I meet from business networking are actually still friends from the very beginning of who started. And it was actually recommended to join networking groups by a great friend, Barbara Carthew. And from there, I've been a member of quite a few networking groups from there. So the photography studio went really, really well, and was going until up until the crisis. But it's changed quite a lot along the way. So start off with, it was mainly just working from my studio. About 2 years in, I discovered my love for events. So I used to do every weekend, I would attend a dog show with my studio, and I would set it up. And I had to, it wasn't me. It was boiling hot heat, freezing cold, rain, wind, and I was literally, me and my marquee were up against everything. One of the events, I always have been like, what's the point in liability insurance? My marquee blew away with the wind and literally missed a car by a centimetre. And yeah, and then from there, I was like, yeah, I can now understand why you need public liability insurance. So I did these kind of events for about 2 years. And truthfully, my work was not as good in MRK. So I decided that in what I would do is I actually looked at my finances and what I'd made, and I was making hardly anything from the events. And I put it out and saying, truthfully honest with you, ethically and from a business point of view, these events are not working. Forcing animals to be in boiling hot marquees and photographing them really showed that they weren't enjoying it. Their tongues were out, they looked knackered. I wasn't enjoying it and the owner wasn't. And so I put a post out and saying, truthfully honest with you, I don't agree with these. I still need to do events, but I would like to do indoor events instead with small businesses. So loads of people contact me and say, yeah, let's put on a pet photo shoot together. And that's pretty much what I've been doing up until now. So I've been running my main studio and holding events with incredible business all over the South. So I've worked with dog groomers, dog trainers, nutritionists, all kinds of really amazing pet businesses, and also weirdly pubs, because pubs, everyone goes to the pub with their dogs. So I've held a lot in pubs and they work really well. They've been really popular. So I held them for the last 2 years, and I've also made some great contacts and links with different businesses, and I'm finding that truly is the best way for me to work. So at the start of 2020, what happened was I had booked in about 15, 20 events, and then the crisis happened. everything was set up, everything was ready to go, it was marketed, happy with everything, and then it couldn't go ahead, which was really massively unfortunate. That all this hard work, they take so much work, going backwards and forwards, chatting with the business owners, checking out the places, making sure I fit in everything, to be able to be told that I can't do it. So basically I had 2 weeks of pretty much just watching TED Talks. But earlier in October, I had business coaching from a lady called Liz Carney. And during that time, we discussed what would happen in a crisis randomly. It was really bizarre. This was before the crisis has happened. And she goes, what would you do if there was a crisis? And we explored what the kind of things which people need in a crisis. It's not a product which people want or a service which people want. It's now down to something people need. And I think we did discuss puzzles in that time. So 2 weeks into the crisis, my work had gone from busy to nothing. And it was my sister's birthday coming up. So I needed to get her a present, and she loves puzzles. She's autistic. And I decided that I would get her a bespoke puzzle made from one of my photos. So I was trawling the web, found a company which I thought would be a great company to work with, but that puzzle never turned up. So I then went online and found another company to work with. And I bought one of his puzzles, and the quality was incredible. And I was like, I'm going to make a business out of this. So 5 weeks on from that, that's where we are now. I have now got a business selling puzzles. So I named the business Puzzle Crazy because people are going crazy in the lockdown, and puzzles will keep them calm. Puzzles have incredible health benefits. A lot of people see them as meditation because they distract you from everything. They give you a focus. They're a stress reliever, and they have got a lot of health benefits. If you go into like a cancer treatment ward or whatever, in the oncology unit, you'll notice that there's always puzzles there. And the reason why they have them there is because they relieve your stress, they distract you, and they've got amazing benefits. Puzzle Crazy began. And to start off with, it was just selling my work as puzzles. I quickly got feedback from a lot of people saying that my work probably isn't great as a puzzle. I was actually a little bit offended by that to start off with, but then when I bought one of my own pictures as a puzzle, I straight away agreed. My studio backgrounds make the most boring puzzles. So even though the pet is really cute, they just didn't work as puzzles because it was just one shade of white or black, and that was it. I then began selling artist puzzles, and I found an amazing artist called Yvonne Jack, who is my best-selling artist. I sell a lot of her work, and she paints multicolored animal portraits, and I absolutely love them, and they're really, really popular. So I sell her work as puzzles. Then I get a lot of inquiries from people asking for personalized puzzles with their own photos. And then I found out the reasons why a lot of people are wanting them. So a lot of them were being sent to grandparents who couldn't see their family, or to aunties or whatever in this time. So by having a special puzzle which they could send to family, just was a special, meaningful gift which they could give to people in this time. So to start off with, it was just one photo on the puzzle. And then a lot of people are asking me, would I be able to make a collage of 8 to 10 pictures on puzzles? And I agree to them. They are really hard work to do, but they are unbelievably popular. So I make these collage puzzles for people. The record so far has been a family with a woman who has 10 children. So like 10, I think it was about 15 different pictures on this one thing. But the problem is with my supplier, he has set measurements for the puzzles. So if it goes over that measurement, the size, when I have to put it into Photoshop, what happens is the edges are cropped off. So I really, really have to be very tight with how I lay out the puzzles, because otherwise they just won't work. So fitting 15 children into one puzzle was not 15, 10 children into one puzzle was really, really hard. But it was a great one. I've done that. I've done a lot for people with their own pets. So it's, again, I'm using old customers, contacting them and saying, would you like a picture taken of your pet with as a puzzle? So I'm making lots of them. And that's pretty much where it is with that. As well as this, during this time, I've also set up a business group called the South Coast Business Market, which is a free resource for small business owners across the South. And now it's randomly becoming pretty much everywhere. I started off as the South, but actually all businesses need to support each other in this time. And if you were in the deserts of Swakopmund in Namibia, I'd still be happy for you to be on the group. If you've got a product which you can sell globally, then you can do it. So this group, to start off with, was a selling platform where people could promote themselves and sell what they do. What I quickly noticed is that people were wanting more support than that. So I set up subgroups from that for different businesses. So I set up a networking group for pet photographers. No, not pet photographers, pet businesses. So there's about 8 of us who meet every Monday, and we talk about our successes, what's going well, and how we can improve our business and how we can help with each other. And that's really growing. We're a really fab group of people. We've got people from all walks of life, and some of them have run their businesses from 20 years and then others for not long at all. So we're all at different stages, and it's great to learn from each other and connect. I've also set up one for holistic businesses and also network marketers. The reason why I've set these up is because these are the businesses which I see struggling quite a lot. A lot of people don't really take network marketing seriously, and they go, oh, not another one of these shoved down my face. But actually, a lot of these have become really great friends, and I have bought a lot of these products from people. They're incredible ones, such as Forever Living, Weekend Eco, and loads of really amazing network marketing products. And so I believe in supporting them. So I set up this group for them. Holistic therapists are also really struggling because most of them are very hands-on therapists with head massage and reflexology and all these kind of things which they do with their hands. So they've been gone from really busy to absolutely nothing, which is really unfortunate. So I've set up that group for them. Then what I found is that people want education. That people are wanting to learn at this time. They've got a lot of time to learn. They've got a lot of time on their hands. So I have set up Thursday talks for small businesses, where businesses can join in and listen to really amazing business people and hear about what's going on and what they're up to, and also supporting each other. So the first week it was me doing it, and I talked about how to engage through Facebook with Facebook marketing. And then the second one, which I did was yesterday, was with a incredible business coach called Cynthia Moore-Opdam. She is Dutch, and she has a really, really incredible approach. Very direct, very focused, gets what you need, what she needs out of you. And from that session, everyone messaged me just saying, wow, this was amazing. We want more. So I've got lots of other talks coming up and planning those over the next few weeks for people, which is just amazing. Hearing these people, they're all doing it for free. And hopefully from it, they'll also get work out of it, which is just incredible. These people, these are business coaches, successful people giving their time and dedicating it for free, which I'm really grateful for. I decided Thursday is just one day a week to be completely focused on it, and it's in the afternoon. The reason why I've decided afternoons is because a lot of people are really busy with their time and with networking. So most businesses have networking meetings in the morning, and then in the afternoon they are quieter. They either work on their business, they're working, or they want a bit of education. So I'm holding these, and we've got a huge variety of speakers talking. We've got chocolatier, a reflexologist, a batch flower remedist, batch flower remedist, which these remedies help you with stress and anxiety. There's 35 different remedies, and they all have different health properties which they can help you with stuff. So we've got that coming up. And yeah, it's just utilizing my network of businesses to create a really amazing platform for business owners. So yeah, it's just really amazing to be part of that and supporting people through these times. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it, really. Yeah, I kind of actually might want to share a couple of interesting stories before we go about pet photography. I only touched on the lion one. I've got a few more interesting ones. So one of them actually involved a Shetland pony. What happened was I photographed her pony 3 times now. And on the second occasion, she decided to come along with her daughter, who was really young at the time. She wanted her pony looking in squeaky clean, the best condition possible. So she decided to wash the pony before the photo shoot. However, what happened was this pony travelled down from Southampton, completely drenched, soaking wet. And it looked awful. And we couldn't actually photograph the pony in that condition. So I had a little brainwave. My village has 3 hairdressers in it. And I was like, why don't we go down to the village hairdressers and ask if they'll give the pony a blow dry. The first hairdressers, not surprisingly, said no. And it was like, I don't want a pony in my hair salon. But I then went to the barbers and they said yes. This barber's had brand new lino floor put in it, and they agreed to me blow drying their pony in the salon. So yeah, luckily I was able to have a nice dry pony for the photo shoot, which just sounds really weird. Nice dry pony. So yeah, so we dried this pony. And as it was being dried, the editor of a local newspaper and he did a double take and was like, what is going on? And I ended up in a newspaper. So yeah, so that one was really fun. And then
did the pony enjoy the blow dry?
It was pretty chilled.
Was it all right? Yeah.
No problem with the it was absolutely fine. Nice hot air being dried down. Probably I can't imagine, like, Southampton's about 40 minutes from me, so being that drenched that whole time, probably they didn't enjoy it very much. So that was a really fun one. And then another one which was really amusing was a lady decided to bring her pet raccoons in for a photo shoot.
So cute.
They were adorable.
So cute.
But raccoons are so naughty and they trashed my studio.
Oh no.
But it was great. It was really good that
What did they do to it?
They ripped my backdrops. They knocked over my lights. Everything was completely unusable. But this was when I very first started, and truthfully, I actually needed new equipment. It was all completely damaged by the animals anyway from before. So I didn't want to buy new stuff, but really, truthfully, I actually did need to anyway. So despite these raccoons wrecking havoc of my studio, it was great. I really enjoyed them doing it. Well, I didn't enjoy them doing it, but it was what was needed. So we then took them down to Emsworth Harbour and we photographed the raccoons in the old fishing boats.
Cute.
And I've got a really cute picture of the raccoon in the fishing boat. But kind of looking back on it, it was a bit bad. They've just trashed my studio, and then I go and put them in boats, and they could have trashed the boats, but they didn't. So that was
gone off sailing in them.
Yeah, they could have gone sailing. It was low tide, so they could have just sailed across pebbles.
Wicked.
So yeah, so they were really cute. So I did them, and then another one which was an interesting one was I had a lady send me some very random texts asking me if I would go and photograph her cats, and I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And she was like, but I have 19 of them.
Oh,
I
amazing.
need you to come to my house and photograph my cats. She didn't tell me any more about the cats. She didn't tell me where she lived either. And she lived in a council estate in Portsmouth. And it was a sky-rise building, one of these sky-rise council estates. And I had to no lift in the building. And I had to take my studio backdrop stuff and set it up 6 flights of stairs. And when I opened the door, there were just naked, hairless cats everywhere. They didn't have any fur. And she was a cat breeder. She bred Sphinx cats. And yeah, and they are so cool. I love them. I don't think I would want one as a pet, but they were really cool.
Oh.
And they were really fun to photograph. But some of them were just like 3 days old, these kittens. And they literally looked like Gollum. Yeah, they were just like, oh my God, what on earth is that? They're kind of cute, kind of not cute. And yeah, so I photographed these Sphinx cats. And yeah, she was Russian. And yeah, Russian Sphinx cat breeder in the middle of Portsmouth. And yeah, and I'd literally just had lung surgery. So carrying all these things, I was in so much pain.
Oh,
And the
dear.
woman answered the door in her dressing gown. And I did the whole photo shoot with this Russian woman with her cats. And she wore her dressing gown the whole time and didn't get changed the whole way through the photo shoot. And yeah, so it was a nice Russian,
That's out there.
very out there, pink fluffy dressing gown with her cats. And I did that. So they were 3 really fun stories what have happened within my studio. I think that's kind of about it, really.
That's incredible.
So hopefully it was you enjoyed that, and I really appreciate you for letting me on your new podcast series. And yeah, I just hope it's going to be really, really successful for you and see where it goes. So
Oh, thank you, Ollie. That Ollie pause, that was a very touching story, actually. Very touching, and I just think it's so interesting and intimate to get to know people's life story, that why you do what you do, because it just gives it so much more depth and meaning. And I have found it very touching and very lovely to hear your story. And what comes up the most for me is how much you empower others to be successful as well. And you do that with your groups. I went to your meeting yesterday. I'm part of your South Coast Businesses Facebook group, and you really are in there supporting people on a daily basis. You know, it's not just a group. So I really think you walk your talk, and I just think you're a above and beyond. You're more than just a pet photographer or a puzzle supplier. You're a real. I just think the way that you've dealt with the lockdown crisis and the way that you've managed your life directions and stuff is really quite outstanding. And it's just testimony to your resilient character, and how you teamwork is just wonderful.
I'm a big lover of change. So
Oh, wow.
for me, I like being out of my comfort zone. I don't really know what my comfort zone is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, lots of things have happened to me where I've been out of my comfort zone and I absolutely loved it. Weirdly, one of the things I enjoyed most out of my comfort zone was having my backpack stolen in Burma. And so I then had nothing, and I had to literally live off nothing.
Wow.
And yeah, and I made the most amazing friends from
Goodness.
having nothing. So yeah, and I had the best time, even though literally I had a tote bag with 1 pair of underwear and 1 pair of t-shirt and 1 pair of shorts and luckily my camera and my passport, but everything else was gone. And I'm such a lover of change, and having to adapt to change is something I find so interesting. I love how people have pivoted, and I really do love supporting businesses. And when you find these really amazing ones where people have gone through all these struggles and then you see them just become successful, and it's just wow. I love learning from people and being inspired by them. So
Oh, well, I just think you're just a real example, and you're just a really lovely guy. And I'm so glad to meet you. I'm so glad to meet you. And I just think that this change of situation has just brought out the best in you in terms of your resourcefulness, and your connecting people and being in service and being and thinking what to do yourself, helping others. Yeah, it's just really, really inspiring to witness that. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from you personally. So thank you so much.
thank you. I just think also, like, you have also adapted to this, setting up this podcast series. So it's really exciting to see where this is going to go for you.
Yeah, it is
So
actually.
you're going to
Yeah.
interview some, well, you already have incredible people. So
Really?
it's really exciting to see where it goes.
Yes, I am too.
Great business journalism. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like you, I just love helping people to promote themselves in different ways, because I think people promote themselves in traditional ways, and maybe now there's a need to do something different. So
it's very much gone online now. So
yeah.
you've got to promote yourself online in these times, because you can't be face to face. So it's adapting. So podcasts are literally the perfect way to be able to do it and work together. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Olly Paws. And how can people get in touch with you? I'll obviously share all of your links, but how can people connect and work with you?
So there are about 3 or 4 ways. So if you want to see my pet photography, I've got a Facebook page, and it's Paws and Claws Photography. So you can type that and literally I come in up first on the thing. If you're interested in the business group, the South Coast Business Market, the best way is just to type in South Coast Business Market and you'll be welcome to the group. And then for my puzzles, there are two places. So if you'd like a personalized puzzle made from your own photos, family photos, if you message me through my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/puzzle crazy UK. And then for my Etsy page, which is where I sell all the artists' work on, it is etsy.com/shop/puzzle crazy GB. So you can see a whole range of them. New artists have been added every single day, so it's really exciting to work with them and support them. And so it's just amazing to be part of it. I'm loving the whole process, and if you want to also chat with me about anything, I'd love to talk.
Oh, that's wonderful. I cannot recommend a one-to-one with Olly Paws enough. You're so inspiring to talk to.
Olly Paws. So my name is Olly Clarke, not Olly Paws, but Maria has a nickname for me. So,
that's my nickname. He's called Olly Clarke, everyone. Don't listen to me.
So you wouldn't be able to find me as Olly Paws.
Yes.
You're also welcome to call me Olly Paws, but Olly Clarke is where you find me.
Olly Clarke is how to find the man. So thank you so much, and we will be sharing this for the world to hear. Your wonderfulness. Thank you.